Published 0408 EDT, 25 September 2017. Updated 1648 EDT, 25 September 2017. A dog has offered a glimmer of hope to Mexico City amid the devastation of the magnitude 7.1 earthquake that shook the neighborhood to its core last week. The Schnauzer was pulled alive and well from the wreckage as disaster relief teams from across the globe worked to recover what is left of the city. Japanese disaster relief team workers along with the local emergency medics were pictured carrying the small dog from the rubble of a flattened building before carrying it to safety. A Schnauzer dog who survived the quake is pulled out of the rubble from a flattened building by rescuers in Mexico City on September 24, 2017. Japanese rescue workers reach a dog in a collapsed building, where the search of victims continues, in Mexico City, Mexico. Japanese disaster relief team workers along with the local emergency medics are pictured carrying the small dog from the rubble of a flattened building before carrying it to safety. A Schnauzer dog who survived the quake is pulled out of the rubble from a flattened building by rescuers who carry it to safety in Mexico City on September 24, 2017. In spite of the miraculous recovery of the white pooch, hopes of finding more survivors after the devastating earthquake have dwindled to virtually nothing, nearly a week after the seismic jolt shook the megacity, killing more than 300 people. But authorities were still accommodating anguished families who insisted that painstaking rescue operations continue at a handful of the dozens of buildings toppled by the magnitude 7.1 quake that struck Tuesday. Foreign teams from Israel, the U.S. and elsewhere worked with dogs and HITEC gear to try to detect signs of life under the rubble. In the first 3 days, 69 people were pulled out alive. But since late Friday, only bodies have been recovered. Spanish rescue brigades continue the search for victims among collapsed buildings in Mexico City, Mexico. 24 September 2017. Mexican and Israeli specialists work at the site of a building felled by a 7.1 magnitude earthquake. In Mexico City, Mexico, soldiers stand guard beside a collapsed house after a 7.1 magnitude earthquake in San Gregorio Atlapulco, in Mexico. A rescue dog is lifted via a ladder to the site of a search and rescue operation at a building felled by a 7.1 magnitude earthquake in the Ciudad Jardín neighborhood of Mexico City. Left and members of rescue teams and volunteers continue to search for people under the rubble of a collapsed housing unit. Right, a rescue worker uses a drill to break up concrete at the site of an office building felled by a 7.1 magnitude earthquake in the search for people who are believed to be trapped inside at the corner of Alvaro Obregón and Yucatan streets in Mexico City. A police officer stands next to cars destroyed in an earthquake in Mexico City, which has so far claimed the lives of 300 people. In a poster in front of a collapsed office block, where several people were trapped by the quake, a picture of one of those inside read, "Adrian, you are a warrior. Your family, friends, and area were waiting for you." A series of smaller earthquakes in the south of Mexico on Saturday, including a 6.1 magnitude tremor that triggered seismic alerts, stoked panic in a population traumatized by Tuesday's disaster. 2 women in the capital died of heart attacks. The shaking also forced a brief suspension of rescue efforts, which have been painstakingly complex due to the instability of the structures. Rescue workers have been having to carry sniffer dogs up ladders using harnesses in order to ensure their safety.